All right, let's dive into the world of marine electricians today. We're going to focus on how to totally ace that interview and land that dream job, working on those awesome electrical systems that keep ships running.
Yeah, it's an awesome field. We're going to cover everything from really understanding what the job is to nailing those tough interview questions.
So, when I picture a marine electrician, I kind of see someone fixing a broken lamp on a sailboat, but it's got to be way more than that.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Think about all the systems on a ship. The air conditioning, the navigation, the lights, even entertainment systems. A marine electrician installs, maintains, and fixes all of those.
So it's not just wiring a lamp. It's like understanding these massive systems.
You got it.
Yeah.
You'll use special tools and equipment to troubleshoot problems sometimes in crazy places.
Sounds intense, but I bet it's really cool seeing everything working because of you.
It definitely is. And a huge perk is travel. A lot of marine electricians get to work on ships that go all over the world.
Okay, so we've got a little taste of the job. But let's get to the interview. We're going to look at some sample questions from RoleCatcher's interview guides and break down how to handle them. And later we'll even talk about how RoleCatcher's AI can help you customize your answers and really polish your delivery.
Sounds awesome. Let's start with the classic opener. What inspired you to become a marine electrician?
Seems easy enough, but it can't just be, I like working with my hands.
Right. The interviewer wants to understand what drives you. They're looking for a real passion for the field.
How do you make your answer stand out then?
Tell a story. Think back to what sparked your interest. Maybe you loved boats as a kid, maybe you messed around with electronics, or were you inspired by someone in the industry?
A personal story can make your answer memorable and show real enthusiasm.
Exactly. And be specific. Instead of saying, I've always liked electricity, talk about a specific project or something that fascinated you.
Show them this isn't just any job, it's something you really care about.
They might follow up with something like, what excites you most about being a marine electrician?
That's a good one. It's not just inspiration, it's what keeps you going.
You got it. This is where you show you've done your research and you get the role. You could talk about the challenges of working with complex systems, the satisfaction of fixing things, or even the thrill of being at sea.
Connecting your passions to the actual job.
All right, question 2. Describe your experience working with electrical systems on ships.
Here's where you show off your skills and experience.
Totally. The interviewer is checking your knowledge and what you can do. Instead of just listing your jobs, give concrete examples.
What kind of examples would they want to hear?
Talk about the types of ships you've worked on, the systems you've handled, and what you were responsible for. Let's say you worked on a cruise ship.
Okay. I might say something like, I worked on the electrical systems for the whole ship.
That's a start, but it's kind of vague. You could say, I was responsible for maintaining the electrical systems for the entertainment complex, including lighting, sound, and video equipment.
Much more specific.
Yeah.
You can really picture what you actually did.
And don't forget challenges you faced and how you handled them.
That shows you can solve problems, which is key for a marine electrician.
They might also ask about specific systems or equipment, so be ready for details.
Like, tell me about your experience with AC systems on ships.
Exactly. It's all about showing you've got the practical knowledge. Now, this next one's a bit trickier. What was the most complex electrical problem you've encountered on a ship, and how did you solve it?
Ooh, that one sounds tough. They're looking for more than a quick fix.
Right.
Yeah.
This question shows your technical skills and how you think under pressure. So think about a really tough electrical problem.
Like a system failure that was impossible to figure out.
Exactly. Walk them through your thinking. How did you approach it? What tools did you use? How did you find the solution?
A good story about a challenge you beat can make you stand out.
Okay, let's look at a safety question. How do you ensure compliance with electrical codes and regulations?
Safety's huge, especially on a ship. A small mistake could be really bad.
Absolutely. The interviewer wants to know you're serious about safety and following the rules.
So how do you show them you're all about safety?
Start by mentioning certifications or training you have. Don't just list them, though. Explain how you use those standards in your work.
So instead of saying, I have ABYC electrical certification, explain what it means and how it affects your work.
Exactly. Talk about procedures you follow, safety checks you do, or records you keep.
Showing them safety is part of everything you do, not just when you're asked.
They might even ask, can you give me an example of when you had to enforce a safety rule, even if it meant delaying a project?
Oh, that's a good one. Shows you put safety before deadlines, which is huge in this field.
All right, now a question about your workload. They might ask, how do you prioritize tasks when you're working on multiple projects at the same time?
A classic.
Yeah.
Every job has multitasking. But on a ship, I bet it's even more important to be organized to manage your time.
You're right. They want to see you can handle juggling deadlines and surprises.
So how do you convince them you're a multitasking pro?
Give specific examples of how you've handled multiple projects. Maybe you used a project management app, a to-do list, or a specific way to prioritize tasks.
It's about showing you're organized and can focus even when things are crazy.
And be ready for scenarios like, imagine you're doing a major installation and suddenly another system breaks down on the ship. How would you handle that?
Oh, that's a tough one. It tests if you can think fast to make decisions on the spot.
Exactly. And that's our first 5 questions. We'll get into more tough ones and look at how RoleCatcher's AI can help you tailor your answers in the next part of our deep dive.
Back again for more on how to nail that Marine Electrician interview. We're tackling the tough questions and giving you the tools you need to shine.
And don't forget, we're focusing on those tough questions so you're ready for anything.
All right, question 6. How do you stay updated on the latest advancements in marine electrical systems?
This one shows them if you love learning, the marine industry is always changing with new tech popping up all the time.
So how do you prove you're not stuck in the past? You're embracing the future of these systems.
This is your time to show off your love of knowledge. Talk about training courses, conferences, workshops you've been to, or even online resources you use.
You mean like webinars on those new navigation systems or articles about better battery tech?
Exactly. Mention industry magazines you read or online forums where you chat with other electricians. And if you've gotten any new certifications since your initial training, definitely highlight those.
So it's all about showing them you're taking the initiative and staying ahead of the game.
They might follow up with, what specific areas of marine electrical systems are you most interested in learning more about?
Interesting. It's like they're trying to see what you're most passionate about within the field.
Exactly. It's your chance to match your learning goals with what the company focuses on. Do some research on their projects and see if your expertise could be a good fit somewhere.
Okay. Moving on to a question you might get if you're going for a leadership role. Something like, how do you manage a team of marine electricians?
This is all about your leadership skills, especially communication, delegating tasks, and keeping your team motivated.
What kind of examples would really impress them?
Talk about times when you've led teams successfully. Did you mentor a junior electrician? Oversee a tough installation project? Resolve a conflict between team members? Focus on when you had to guide, motivate, or support others.
Showing when you took charge and proved you could lead.
They might dig a little deeper with, tell me about a time you had to make a tough decision that affected your team. How did you handle it?
Wow. Getting into the real stuff of leadership. They want to see how you deal with pressure.
It shows your decision-making process. Did you get input from your team? Weigh the pros and cons. How did you tell them about your decision and address any concerns?
It's a chance to prove you're a thoughtful leader who can make the call. Okay, let's get back to safety with a question like, how do you ensure safety when working with electrical systems on ships?
Remember, safety is everything here. They want to see you. You don't just know the protocols, but you really live by them.
So saying I follow all the safety rules isn't enough.
Right. Be specific. Talk about lockout procedures, grounding techniques, and using the right safety gear. Mention any safety training you've had, or even better, tell a story about a time you spotted a potential hazard and took care of it.
Showing you're proactive about safety all the time, not just reacting to problems.
They could even ask, have you ever stopped working because of a safety concern, even if it meant missing a deadline? What happened?
That's a big test of your commitment to safety, showing you put safety above everything else.
Now let's talk teamwork. How do you collaborate with other departments when you're working on a project?
Marine electricians don't work alone, right? They're
Right.
part of a bigger team.
Exactly. You'll work with engineers, mechanics, deck crew. They want to know you can communicate clearly, share information, and work together toward the same goal.
How do you prove you're a team player then?
Think of times when you had to work with other departments. Did you explain technical stuff to a crew that didn't know much about electrical systems? Did you figure out a work schedule together to keep a project on track? Highlight those moments when you went the extra mile to help other teams.
It's all about showing you can build those relationships and talk effectively with people from different backgrounds.
They might even ask, describe a time you had to work with someone from another department who had a different way of solving a problem. How did you handle it?
That's a great question. It shows you're not just a good communicator, but you can also problem solve with others.
Now a question to see how well you know yourself and understand the job. What do you think is the most challenging part of working as a marine electrician?
This one feels tricky. Don't want to scare them off by talking too much about the negative stuff.
You're right. But you gotta be honest and acknowledge the challenges. You could mention the demanding work environment, the long hours, the pressure to meet deadlines, but the key is to focus on how you've learned to handle them.
So turning a negative into a positive, showing your resilience and your problem-solving skills.
Exactly. You might say, the long hours can be tough, but I've learned to prioritize my tasks and manage my time. Or, working in tight spaces can be challenging, but I always follow safety procedures and stay
It's
focused.
about showing you're not afraid of a challenge and you have ways to overcome obstacles.
Before we finish up this part, let's go back to practicing. Saying your answers out loud is key to feeling confident and delivering them smoothly in the interview.
Yeah, it's one thing to have great answers in your head, but it's another to say them clearly when you're under pressure.
Exactly. You don't want to sound like you're reading a script.
Right.
Practice helps you get your phrasing, pacing, and overall delivery down.
You know, you mentioned RoleCatcher's AI can help with this. I'm curious to learn more about that.
We'll hold that thought. We'll be diving into the power of RoleCatcher's AI in the last part of our deep dive.
Welcome back. It's amazing how technology can help with those small things that make a big difference in an interview.
Right. And, it's not about being someone you're not. It's about showing your best and most confident self and that passion for what you do.
I like that. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to think about what we've learned. We've looked at the tough but rewarding job of a marine electrician, tackled those interview questions, and even seen how AI can help us prepare like pros.
You've got great insights, practical strategies, and even a look at the future of getting ready for interviews. And with the right prep, you can walk into that interview feeling good and make a real impression.
Before we go, one last thing to think about. What special skills and qualities do you have that would make you a great addition to a marine electrical team? Take some time to think about your strengths and how they match up with this exciting field.
Thanks for joining us on the deep dive. We wish you all the best in your marine electrician journey.